Imagine living in a world where every step you take is connected to the earth beneath you, where every river whispers stories of your ancestors, and the trees stand as guardians of your heritage. This was the reality of the Native Americans, a people whose lives were entwined with nature in ways that we can barely comprehend today. But then, in an instant, everything changed. They faced a battle for survival, for their land, their culture, their very existence. This isn't just a tale from the past, it's a story of resilience, of fighting against impossible odds, and it's a story that demands to be told. Are you ready? Because once you hear it, there's no turning back. Long before anyone else set foot on these lands, Native Americans had already built thriving communities. Their deep connection to nature was more than just survival. It was spiritual. For the Lakota, the buffalo was sacred, symbolizing life itself. The Hopi saw the earth as a living entity, their ancestors having risen from its depths. These weren't just myths, they were a way of life. Their stories and rituals weren't mere folklore, but the very essence of their existence. Each tribe lived in harmony with the world around them, and every rock, tree, and stream was part of their identity. Can you imagine a life so deeply rooted in nature? The arrival of Europeans, a turning point in history. And then they arrived. At first, the Europeans came with open hands, offering gifts, exchanging ideas, forming alliances. But behind those gestures, there was greed. They didn't come just to share, they came to take. The diseases they unknowingly brought with them, smallpox, influenza, swept across the native population like wildfire, erasing entire villages in mere days. Imagine watching your family, your tribe, your world fall apart because of an invisible enemy. And yet, the Native Americans persisted. What followed was centuries of struggle, a tug of war for land and power that reshaped the course of history. Resistance and survival. Standing strong in the face of adversity. But these people were not just victims. They were warriors, fighting for their very survival. Think of Tecumseh, a leader who rallied tribes to defend their lands, or Geronimo, whose name became synonymous with resistance. They fought against overwhelming odds, against enemies with guns and superior technology. Yet they stood their ground, driven by something more powerful, the need to protect their way of life. Every battle they fought, every life lost, was a testament to their unyielding spirit. Imagine standing on the front lines, knowing the odds were against you, but refusing to give in. Forced removal, the tragedy of the Trail of Tears. And then came the darkest hour, the Trail of Tears. Under the guise of treaties and laws, Native Americans were forced from their lands. Imagine being told to pack your life into a bag and march hundreds of miles, not knowing where you were going, but knowing you could never return. Thousands perished along the way. Starvation, disease, and exhaustion claimed lives daily. It wasn't just a journey, it was an attempt to erase an entire people from the land they'd lived on for centuries. The Trail of Tears wasn't just a tragedy, it was a deliberate effort to strip Native Americans of everything they held dear. Cultural suppression. Erasing identities. But even after being forced from their lands, the hardships didn't end. Native American children were taken from their families, sent to boarding schools where they were forbidden from speaking their own language or practicing their traditions. Their ceremonies were outlawed, their identities crushed under the weight of assimilation. It was an attack on their very essence. Yet, they resisted. In secret, they passed down their languages, their stories, their traditions, keeping their culture alive even when the world tried to destroy it. Their spirit couldn't be broken. Revival and resilience. The modern-day warriors. And today, that spirit is stronger than ever. Native Americans are reclaiming their heritage, their land, and their voice. They are leaders, artists, activists, fighting for the rights of their people and their land. From standing on the front lines of protests to protect sacred sites to revitalizing their languages, they are proving that their culture is not just alive, but thriving. They are modern-day warriors, carrying forward the legacy of their ancestors while carving out a new future. Their resilience is a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, the human spirit can endure. This is only a glimpse into the rich, complex history of Native Americans, a history that continues to unfold today. What stood out to you in their story? Was it their connection to the land, their unwavering resistance, or their modern-day fight for justice? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your thoughts. And if you're passionate about learning more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Together, we can keep these stories alive. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey.